Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Harrell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Consumer Federation of California. Thank you all for being here, either in person or live via our live stream. This is National Consumer Protection Week, and we're joined here today by a number of other consumer and small business organizations that you'll be hearing from later, and a number of state senators and assembly members to unveil a 6-bill legislative package to tackle junk or hidden fees that cost consumers billions through deceptive pricing and expensive add-on fees to a wide range of consumer and small business transactions. According to recent data, roughly 85% of consumers have experienced these hidden or junk fees themselves, so the problem knows no boundaries in our population. And this issue is getting an increasing amount of attention from the federal government. President Biden spoke in some detail about this in his State of the Union address last month, stated that junk fees, quote, make it harder for you to pay your bills or afford that family trip. I know how unfair it feels when a company overcharges you and gets away with it, the president added. He outlined federal legislation, the Junk Fee Prevention Act in this area, and a number of Biden administration entities, including the Federal Trade Commission and others, are taking action to crack down on these junk fees where they can. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, for example, is in the process of capping credit card late fees by around 75%, from around $30 to around $8. We want to acknowledge the work being done at the federal level by agencies such as the CFPB, fighting junk fees in the financial marketplace. The CFPB's research has shown how pervasive these fees are and the extent of their impact on consumers. And we also appreciate that the CFPB is here with us today. The CFPB's representative is Lisa Rosenthal, Deputy Assistant Director of their Office of Supervision Policy. Thank you for being here, Lisa. We know that California is a national leader in consumer protection, and it's time for us to meet this moment head-on in the California legislature. So this 6-bill package, combating junk and hidden fees, covers a wide range of areas where consumers get taken advantage of, from hotels to ticketing, rental cars, electric vehicles, to small business lending and rental housing. We will lead the way in cracking down on junk fees that empty our pockets while lining those who take advantage of us. Enough is enough. What we're going to do this afternoon is have some remarks from each of the authors of bills in the package, mixed in with some of the consumer and small business groups that are working closely with them on their respective piece of the package. At the end, we'll take some questions. So without further ado, let me first welcome Assemblymember Mark Berman. He's authoring a bill on hidden fees, such as resort fees, in the lodging space, an issue the Consumer Federation of California has been working on for a number of years now. Assemblymember Berman.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you to your entire team with the Consumer Federation of California for bringing everyone together today to send a clear message that Californians are sick and tired of being misled by junk fees. In particular, over the last few years, deceptive advertising in the short-term lodging industry has significantly increased, with many hotels, motels, and other short-term lodging establishments hiding mandatory fees from consumers who are trying to compare prices. I am proud to author Assembly Bill 537 to put an end to this deceptive and all too common practice. We've all experienced it. You go to a website, enter the dates of your stay, pick a room for a certain price, enter all of your personal information, and then at the very last minute, the hotel or travel website tacks on resort or cleaning fees. It's time to take action on behalf of consumers and crack down on this predatory practice. I've even seen hotels that tacked on a destination fee at the very end of the booking process. It's a hotel. Being a destination isn't a special add-on. It's literally the essence of a hotel. How does that warrant a special hidden fee? If you want to charge that, put it in the advertised price of the room. Unfortunately, the reality is that too many companies manipulate consumers in their internet searches into thinking they're getting a better deal than they really are. President Biden called out these fees for harming consumers by preventing them from seeing the true price when they pick out a hotel and by limiting their ability to comparison shop. I'm excited to be here today as part of a growing movement here in California and around the country to ensure that the advertised or offered price of your stay is the real price you pay. It's as simple as that. So I want to again thank our sponsor, Consumer Federation of California, for your partnership and advocacy on AB 537, and I look forward to the work ahead on this common sense consumer protection bill. Thanks.
Thank you, Assembly Member. I should note that later this week I'm going to a conference, and literally I checked, and I'm paying a $25 per night destination fee, just as you mentioned. That's my personal favorite, the destination fee, as if I was going to stay home. All right, next up, I'd like to welcome to the podium one of California's newly elected state senators from the San Fernando Valley, who's quickly becoming a leader in consumer protection, especially when it comes to fighting for renters and hidden fees in that area. Let me introduce Senator Caroline Menjivar. Senator Menjivar.
Thank you, Robert. Good afternoon, everyone. Like he mentioned, I'm newly elected State Senator Caroline Menjivar. I represent the San Fernando Valley and Burbank. I'm so grateful today to join with my colleagues, the Consumer Federation, the strong coalition that has convened to stop junk fees in California. When we talk about junk fees, it's not common that we include issues that burden tenants. Junk fees that cause to exacerbate the housing crisis that we have here in California. My district has been struggling to keep up with the demand for affordable housing for decades, and this issue is actually really personal to me because I've experienced housing insecurity when I was a young teenager, and now as a state senator, I continue to hear these devastating stories from my constituents every single day. The intent of Senate Bill 611 is to address the lack of price transparency in rental housing market, because when they get you in, they add on fees if you stay a limited amount of time. They add on fees to do valet trash can, and it's mandatory. They add on fees if you're living with more than one person and so forth. Renters today already face a growing array of hidden fees to secure housing, forcing people to pay more than the stated price of rental units. These fees, as a practical manner, keep safe and decent rental housing out of reach for many Californians, including our working families. They also negatively impact further housing and financial stability because they can damage a person's credit report and incur potential rental debt. SB 11, as amended, will require landlords to clearly state to renters what they will pay, both upfront and on a monthly basis, to remain housed in a rental unit. Consumers should know what something will cost so they can decide if they can afford it in the first place, especially when it comes to housing. I look forward to continuing this fight with all of you, protecting the people of California. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Senator Menjivar. I should note for those in the audience and on the live stream that the Consumer Federation of California will be working on this issue very closely with the National Consumer Law Center and also the National Housing Law Project. So we'd like to thank them and acknowledge their participation in this effort. Next, I'd like to turn to protecting small businesses from the add-on fees they see when seeking capital to start or grow their businesses. Senator Dave Min of Orange County is the lead author of our bill in that area. Senator Min.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you to the Consumer Federation of California for your immense help in getting this bill together. We often say that small businesses are the lifeblood of our economy. Small businesses like the one I represent in Orange County, they're out there, they're investing their own capital, but they're increasingly being targeted by unfair fees. We saw this come to a head during the COVID-19 pandemic when over 40,000 small businesses here in this state came close to closing down or actually were shut down. We have many more that are struggling to get back on their feet. These circumstances have unfortunately forced many small businesses to take out loans through non-traditional means just to stay afloat. These loans all too often come with unfair, hidden, or exorbitant fees that pull money away from these small businesses, acting essentially as a hidden tax on our economy. Many of these establishments have less than 10 employees and don't have the capacity to sift through the fine print of these particular loan agreements. We need safeguards in place to make sure the lending process is straightforward, transparent, and doesn't come with unfair surprises. Now, my bill, SB 666, and I know that's the number of the beast, aims to protect small businesses from a variety of junk fees imposed by lending companies. You might say that these particular fees are deviling our small businesses. Sorry, I'm a dad. Many of these fees, like the fees imposed on small businesses trying to refinance into more affordable loans, are burdensome and anti-competitive. Other fees, like the platform and due diligence fees that we target, when charged in combination with traditional origination fees, can cost hundreds of add-on dollars while not providing any clear benefits. This bill seeks to eliminate fees that are anti-competitive in nature and don't provide a clear service. Additionally, it will ensure that other fees are capped at a reasonable amount when compared to the price of the service offered. Small businesses are ones that we need to protect. As I mentioned, often they're under 10 employees. They deserve transparency. They deserve fairness. So I want to thank everyone here today for your work in protecting consumers, small businesses, and everyone else who's targeted by these unfair, rampant fees that are becoming all too common in our economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Min. Two of the small business groups that are working with Senator Min and the Consumer Federation of California on this issue are here today, and I'd like to ask them to maybe make some brief remarks as well. I'd like to ask Bianca Blomquist, the California Policy Director of Small Business Majority, and Addison Peterson, a policy specialist with the California Association for Micro Enterprise Opportunity, or CAMEO, to make some brief remarks about Senator Min's bill. Bianca, Addison?
Thanks, Robert. Really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting us to share why the California small business community supports SB 666, legislation that will tackle hidden fees in small business lending products particularly. Hidden fees are not only costly to consumers, but they can stifle competition and entrepreneurship. These fees and add-ons in commercial lending products often confuse and surprise small business owners. As Senator Min alluded to, these small business owners tend to lack access to the critical resources they need to review opaque pricing in terms that are oftentimes included in small business lending products. Even before the pandemic, small business owners dealt with hidden fees and lack of transparency and disclosure in business products, but the pandemic proved to exacerbate these problems, leaving small business owners vulnerable. These include ACH fees, risk assessment fees, platform fees, and more fees. To make the situation worse, small business owners don't typically have access to the accountants who can view financing contracts and help them understand these pricing and terms. So by tackling the hidden fees, policymakers can ensure small business owners are on a level playing field when accessing the financing they need to start and grow their businesses. Small Business Majority is happy to support SB 666 to eliminate hidden fees and increase transparency, particularly in small business lending. We're glad to see the policymakers here introduce efforts to protect small business owners as they seek affordable, transparent financing, which is a critical component to maintaining a thriving business. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As Robert mentioned, my name is Addison Peterson, and I'm with the California Association for Micro Enterprise Opportunity, better known as CAMEO. We are California's network of mission-driven entrepreneurial training programs and microlenders. As such, we hear about the issues that small businesses face all the time. When it comes to lending, some lenders provide contracts that add on fees that are either random, as in they have no other purpose other than to charge a fee, or two, they're excessive, as a fee is in way more than what the service costs. For example, some lenders charge exorbitant ACH fees of $400 when processing payments at a cost of a couple dollars. That's why we're joining the Consumer Federation of California to support SB 666, the Small Business Financing Fee Minimization Bill by Senator Min. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bianca and Addison, for your support and your efforts on this measure, and Senator Min for authoring it. Next, we're going to turn to car rentals, and I'm going to introduce the lead author on our bill in that area. She's a relatively new member to the California legislature, but she's quickly becoming a leader in protecting consumers. Assemblymember Tina McKinner. Assemblymember McKinner?
Good morning, or good afternoon, thank you. Hello, I'm Assemblymember Tina McKinner, and I'm pleased to join President Biden's administration and also my colleagues from both houses, as well as consumer organizations here today to talk about ways in which consumers can better be protected against junk and hidden fees in a wide range of industries. That is why I introduced AB 1222, which is focused on car rentals. Over the past decade, the rental car industry has been significantly consolidated into what is essentially a big three. Hertz owns Dollar and Thrifty, while Enterprise owns National and Alamo, and Avis owns Budget and Zipcar. History has shown that when industries consolidate, this usually means higher prices for consumers. During COVID, the industry largely sold off their inventory of cars, then struggled mightily to replenish those cars, thanks in part to global supply chain challenges. At the end, once demand started picking up again, consumers paid the price with whopping rental car charges. In addition to the market fundamentals, the rental car industry has also, like other industries, tried to figure out ways to get more money from consumers without increasing the basic rental car rate. That's where additional fees, often hidden or charged after rental car is completed, comes in. New competitors like Turo have also entered the marketplace, but they have their own fee challenges if anybody wants to pick up or drop off a car in a convenient location. Just 2 years ago, the rental car industry tried to write itself a blank check by seeking to eliminate caps on fees that consumers pay. Only consumer group mobilization stopped that from happening in the way the rental car industry initially wanted it. One Hertz cleaning charge if your car smells like smoke is about $400. I've certainly rented a car that smelled like smoke when I got in, but I guess I didn't get charged at the end, thank God. From gas fees to electronic transponder bridge toll fees beyond what is charged, to early return fees, to additional driver fees and fees for insurance, often already covered by your auto policy, and add-on fees of dubious explanation. Consumers are getting hit with lots of add-ons in the rental car industry. My bill, AB 1222, will enhance and clarify California law when it comes to consumers knowing what they will be paying when they rent a car. We will also be taking a hard look at the number of these add-on fees that have grown in the last number of years and find places where consumers can be protected. Look, we have to protect our consumers. We want to make sure that these fees are upfront so that when consumers are looking to rent a car, if they have to do it for an emergency or just a family vacation, they have the right information so they can make the right decision, and that is what AB 1222 will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Assemblymember McKinner. Next up, any industry that can unite Taylor Swift fans, or Swifties, along with the Beehive, or Beyonce fans, Bruce Springsteen fans, and even K-pop fans and the Jonas Brothers must be doing something deeply troubling. Here to discuss that and how consumers can be better protected in the ticketing space are the joint authors of Assembly Bill 8, Assemblymember Laura Friedman and Assemblymember Jackie Irwin. Assembly members?
Thank you. It's wonderful to be with you today, although of course we wish we didn't have to be with you today, here with you today on this issue. I'm Laura Friedman, and I believe that one of government's primary responsibilities is to protect citizens, to protect residents. And when it comes to people making purchases, and we call them consumers, but what we're really talking about are ordinary citizens, ordinary human beings who are trying to spend their money, their hard-earned money, on a product or a service, often online, and they expect to be treated fairly. They think, I'm spending my money, I'm entering into a transaction, maybe I'm sitting in my living room or my bedroom on a computer, and I shouldn't need a lawyer to help me understand the contract that I'm digitally signing or what's at stake when I buy this ticket. They want to know that they're treated fairly, that there's some semblance of transparency in what they're purchasing. They want to know that they're not being ripped off. And what's so frustrating to people is to find out later that they were ripped off in their mind, that they bought something and had a fee tacked on that was egregious or entered into terms that they didn't even understand that are egregious, that don't pass the smell test, and then to find out that that was legal under California law and that they have no recourse. That's what we're here to stop. Now, I represent a district, I represent Los Angeles, and I represent a district where we have a lot of entertainment venues. And we love our entertainment venues. We love going to concerts, we love going to the theater, we love our shows. And when these venues were shut down during the pandemic, my community members rallied behind saving our theaters. In June of 2021, I was able to lead an effort to establish the California Venues Grant Program that provided $150 million to independent venues and promoters hurt during the pandemic. But we've turned the corner since the pandemic. And today, many of those same venues are reaping in record profits. Due to lack of competition in America's ticketing industry, those live performances are often now out of reach to the everyday consumer. So a few years ago, people were begging people to come back to theaters. Now they're coming back in such numbers that the tickets prices have gone up beyond the means of a lot of our citizens. In fact, average ticket prices have more than tripled since the 1990s, and the fees that are tacked on top of those tickets, get this, as high as 78% fees on top of the price of your ticket. Meanwhile, just last month, Ticketmaster and Live Nation announced record profits, reporting a 2022 operating income up 125% from pre-pandemic levels to $732 million and revenue up 44% to $16.7 billion. We need to make sure that artists, performers, and venues can reach fans and sell tickets in easier and more transparent ways, but we also need to update the law to make sure to stop price gouging. And we see that in the profits, and we see that in these egregious fees. California laws governing ticket retailers were passed before the internet even existed. And that's become very clear as mega ticket sellers and resellers have used those same rules to rip off consumers who are just eager to see Beyonce or the Jonas Brothers or whatever band you like. AB 8, when amended, will add important new consumer protections by eliminating hidden fees and ticket restrictions and requiring all-in pricing to ensure that Californians have clear access to live events. No longer will you be told, as we hear many times from people, that a ticket's $50 when you start your purchase, and then in the end, you pay $75 or even $100 for that very same ticket. AB 8 will require the full disclosure of the face value and all fees up front. It will also require that you get the exact location of your seats when the tickets are purchased so you don't have that surprise later to find out you're behind that pillar at that theater. Now, I'm very proud to be working with my colleague Jackie Irwin on this legislation, which is meant to create a level playing field and a fair playing field for everybody, to add important new consumer protections, and to make sure that fans and event goers have access to the tickets and to the venues that they want to see, and to stop people from getting ripped off and feeling that frustration, to put the law behind individual people. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. I am Jackie Irwin, and I represent the 42nd Assembly District, which encompasses portions of Ventura County and LA County. It is no secret that Californians continue to be charged sky-high prices and fees when purchasing tickets for live events. In addition to being overcharged, consumers are deprived of transparency in the ticket purchasing process. For example, if concert tickets go on sale and the site uses dynamic pricing, the ticket buyer is left in the dark as to how many tickets are being sold and if tickets are being held back. All that could artificially increase ticket prices for buyers. To address the overneed for transparency and regulation in the primary and secondary ticketing marketplace, I am proud to highlight AB 8 in partnership with Assemblymember Laura Friedman. AB 8 will ensure that consumers are provided with transparency in ticket prices and fees prior to checkout and protections against anti-competitive and deceptive practices that make it increasingly difficult for ticket buyers to buy and use tickets. Through AB 8, California's leaders will continue to protect consumers from predatory marketplace practices that have no place in our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Members Friedman and Irwin. I should note that my 12-year-old daughter is very excited about an upcoming K-pop group concert, and I feel like I have to make a decision between allowing her to go to college in the future or paying to go to this concert later this year. So I'll let you all know how that turns out. Working with the Assembly members and the Consumer Federation of California on this issue is the California Public Interest Research Group. So I'd like to, representing them today is Sandra Cushion, who's a state advocate with CalPIRG. Sandra, if you'd like to just make some brief remarks about this ticketing bill. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Sandra Cushion. I am the state advocate with CalPIRG. We're a statewide consumer advocacy group working to protect Californians and ensure a fair marketplace. We've been fighting for common sense reforms to protect consumers for 50 years, and we're here today, again, the first day of Consumer Protection Week, in strong support of AB 8 and these reforms to address hidden fees. The bottom line is consumers deserve to know what they're paying for and how much upfront. It's that simple. But more and more, it seems like companies are blindsiding us with hidden fees. Whether you're buying a ticket to go to a football game or to stay in a hotel, we deserve complete pricing information upfront to inform our choices. And transparency is critical to a fair marketplace. That's why we're proud to co-sponsor AB 8. And thank you, Assemblywoman Friedman and Irwin, for authoring AB 8. This will hold online ticket vendors accountable for hidden fees and murky refund policies. And yes, that includes Ticketmaster. And these are things that can take the joy out of what should be an otherwise very fun experience. Especially as fans are already paying so much to see their favorite performers live, it's important that they have access to upfront ticket costs. Buying event tickets should be a straightforward process where the advertised price is the final price. So efforts like AB 8 and these other important bills discussed today will ensure that California stays a leader on consumer protection for years to come. So again, I want to thank Assembly members Friedman and Irwin and the California Consumer Federation and the other senators and Assembly members here today for being leaders on this front. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sander. Finally, I think we just may have saved the best for last. Senator Nancy Skinner has been a tireless advocate for consumer protection and economic justice throughout her tenure in the California legislature. She's the lead author on the bill ensuring fair pricing and no hidden fees when it comes to electric vehicles. And she's also the joint author on a bill sponsored by Attorney General Rob Bonta, who's unable to attend this morning or this afternoon, but whose office we've been working closely with, giving the California Department of Justice broad authority to combat so-called drip pricing. Senator Skinner, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Very pleased to be here and talk about two great bills. The first one, SB 478, which our Consumer Federation just referred to, is jointly authored by Senator Dodd and myself and sponsored by our Attorney General, Rob Bonta. And it is also responding to a cry that our own President Biden made in his State of the State. He described how we in government need to protect our consumers against hidden junk fees. And President Biden pledged to take this on. We know anybody who has booked a hotel recently, concerts or sporting events, gone to a resort, they go online, they check the price, and then they show up and they find out, oh, there's this little extra fee, and there's that extra fee, and there's another fee. So these hidden junk fees that you don't know about in advance, so you might have chosen another venue had you known it, but instead you're stuck there, you're there with your family, and you feel like you have no choice. And these fees are making it too costly for many families to attend a concert, go to a sporting event, take a vacation, or stay at a hotel. That's not fair. So these hidden fees are unfair to businesses because a business that's trying to compete, that wants to be transparent, is then showing their full cost that they're going to charge you, and the other business isn't, so you may be fooled to go along with booking this hotel thinking that it would be less money, and then you arrive and it isn't. So that's unfair to the businesses also. SB 478 will bring transparency to the true cost of goods and services so you know how to avoid those fees because they're no longer hidden. The next bill is SB 680. So the great news is that more than 15% of vehicle sales in California last year were zero-emission vehicles, electric vehicles, and that far outpaced the nationwide rate of 5.8%. So this is great news because that's the direction California is going in, to trying to move to fully electric and zero-emission vehicles. But what are we seeing happening? We're seeing that many auto dealers are, for example, when the prices of gas was so high last summer and fall, they're jacking up the price of EV because it's, all of a sudden more consumers are motivated to go buy it. The other thing that's happening is we have great rebates or tax credits, both on the federal level and in California, for most purchasers of EVs. And the dealer will tell you, oh, you're going to get this money back. So look, the price I'm offering you is only this much, but you're going to get this money back. What a bargain. But in fact, what the dealer is telling you is a price way above the manufacturer's suggested retail. And you don't realize it. So what SB 680 would do is stabilize the cost of EVs by prohibiting auto dealers from raising the prices above the manufacturer's suggested retail price, so that then EVs are more affordable and you, the consumer, will get your full rebate if you're entitled to one from the feds or the state, and that will further discount the price of that EV so that it can help us meet our goals. So if SB 680 is enacted, California would become the first state to help make EVs more affordable. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Skinner. Working with CFC and Senator Skinner on the EV bill is the Consumers for Auto Reliability and Safety, or CARS. I just wanted to acknowledge Rosemary Shahan, who's run CARS for a number of years, and who, truth be told, is the reason that California's lemon law is one of the best in the country. She had a family health emergency and couldn't attend in person, but we want to acknowledge her effort and their support of this bill. So that's it for the package. We're happy to take questions. Please identify yourself. I would also note that we do have, for those who are interested in Spanish language responses, there's a few of us who are able to speak Spanish, from Yarisa Ramirez, who is CFC's Associate Director, to myself. I'd also like to just thank Yarisa Ramirez from CFC for all the work that she put in helping put this together. So with that, we're happy to take questions. Please state who you are and who your question is directed to. I think we're also monitoring the live stream in case questions come in there, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll start.
Ashley.
With case area 3. I don't really, I guess, for really everyone, I know the administration is working on the Junk-Free Prevention Act. Have any of you had any discussions with the federal administration on crafting your bills that you felt like
I'll take a quick first shot at it, and then I'm happy to defer to the members. Okay. So the Consumer Federation of California has been in ongoing and regular contact with the Biden administration, both the White House and also folks at CFPB and other entities. The Federal Trade Commission and CFPB and other entities have had months-long comment periods, Ashley, for folks to give their input onto the junk and hidden fees that they're seeing out there. In fact, some of those comment letters, which CFC signed on to, helped form the package that you see today. So we're trying to target the areas where the state can act and we're not preempted by the feds, and where we can really make a difference for consumers. We'd love to see a strong federal bill happen, but I think we need to be realistic, and California's always led the way. So with that, I'm happy to defer to any of the members.
President Biden's White House has a great office that is the liaison to states and local governments, but mostly to states. And they reach out when there's something that the president has set his eyes on, whether it's reproductive justice, for example, or these hidden fees, or a couple of the other issues. Then that office will track what various of us are doing and provide us information if we need it, and then we provide them.
I'll just add also quickly, if you look at the bills themselves, there's a lot of things in these bills that are not in the federal, kind of the eye of the federal government right now. Things like knowing where your seats are going to be, the ability to sell your ticket, things like that. So there's certainly hope the federal government does everything that they can do, but there's a lot here that goes beyond those as well.
And for my next question, this is for rental cars, tickets, lodging. I mean, I'm not saying that this is going to be their argument, but it's possible we could hear that, oh, by having to eliminate these, we're just going to have to raise our prices. And I wonder how you'll respond to that kind of argument.
I can only speak to my bill, but we're not saying you have to eliminate the fees. We're just saying you have to be transparent about them. And so hotels are free to charge cleaning fees, resort fees, destination fees, but have that in the upfront price so consumers know when they're price shopping, right? When they're looking at different hotels in a certain area, what the real price is, as opposed to thinking they know what the real price is, and then when they get to the point of actually paying for it, or even worse, when they get to the hotel, there are all these surprise hidden fees. So they can do what they want. They just have to be honest with the consumer about what they're doing.
Yeah, actually, generally speaking, the approach we've tried to take in working with all these authors on these various issues is, that we're not preempted. Airlines is a good example. The feds have authority there. The FAA is looking into it. The FAA is actually a great case study. The FAA, a number of years ago, over the objections of the airline industry, I should note, did more kind of upfront pricing. So you knew that was a big battle. Then what's happened is there's been all these hidden fees added on to use the bin space above you, to sit with your family. I mean, crazy stuff, right? And so the other thing that's going on here in a bunch of these industries is it's about kind of jimmying the results you get when you search online. So the price to show up first or at the top on the price search, because many consumers are price conscious, it looks lower. But the actual price winds up being higher than maybe the second, third, fourth, or fifth option. A number of companies have spent a lot of money hiring behavioral economists to help them do exactly that. This is literally science, to try to manipulate the search order, the search engine results, SEO, and come up with a price that's not the real price, but that creates the false impression. We call it the 5-click syndrome, Ashley, because they've literally done studies where for most consumers, when you get to that fourth or fifth click, you're usually fairly committed to whatever it is you're buying, whether that's a rental car or a hotel room or whatever. They know that, and that's when you see late in that game, those additional fees pop up. So part of what we're trying to attack here is just be honest. You know, CFC's always felt like consumers ought to be given information and then consumers make decent judgments. That's what's best for them. That's really a fundamental principle of what we're talking about here.
Hi, I have a quick question for you all. My name is Rein. I'm from Cal Poly Pomona, and it's an honor for me to be here. I had a question for Senator Skinner, but she isn't here, so I'm not sure if any of you guys can answer this question for me. But the cost of the manufacturing cost for the cars, for the EV cars, would that possibly go up with the fees being reduced, or the actual cost of the car having to match that price? And if so, how do we regulate that?
Well, it's not my bill, but I'll take a crack at it. So just keep in mind that you might get a different answer from the author. So there's two different entities here. One is the manufacturers, and the other are the local car dealers. So the manufacturers are shipping those cars to these dealers who are franchise dealers. They own their own lot. And they're saying, given the price that it costs us to manufacture and a reasonable markup, this is our suggested retail price. And so that's already, that profit margin is already built into the MSRP that's on the sticker of that car. And the problem is that you have a situation where, because of the fluctuation in oil prices and people being more aware about climate change, a lot of people want EVs. If you're like me, I hate going to the gas station. I want to just plug in, right? I don't want to be near the gasoline. So there's a lot of consumer demand for EVs. And there's some reasons why the dealers like to sell cars. The traditional internal combustion engine cars are more expensive to repair in the long run. People come in a lot more to get their oil changed. So there's a real incentive for them to keep those customers coming back. And then you've got these incentives. So a lot of people will go in to try to get those incentives. But if they're now raising the price so that they can absorb that cost of the incentive, assuming that that's free money for you, it defeats the purpose of the incentive. The incentive is that we want you to be given that extra money to purchase an EV for a whole lot of reasons. And if the dealers are sucking that money up into their sale price, then it's counterproductive to our goals of getting more EVs out to people who otherwise probably couldn't afford them. They might, at that point, because the price is so high, even with those incentives, have to go and choose a traditional fossil fuel engine car. If you have anything to add.
Always lovely to have the chairwoman of the Assembly Transportation Committee thoroughly answer a question about that area. Look, the Consumer Fed gets reached out to all the time by both the auto manufacturers and the dealers complaining about what the other's doing. Every few years, they have a big franchise battle, and I think there's going to be one this year, if I'm not mistaken. And so we kind of find it ironic. Now, heaven forbid I should speak for either the manufacturers or the dealers, but this is certainly something that is anti-consumer. California has a mandate. The governor has made it very clear, by 2035, according to his executive order and mandate, you're not going to be able to buy anything other than an EV in the state, new. How are we going to meet that mandate? You have to increase the number of people buying those cars, and one of the problems that we've seen in BIPOC communities and lower income, moderate income communities is they're too expensive. And so you have to change that. And charging way above the MSRP is completely counterproductive, not only to consumer protection, but also to meeting the mandate if California is going to lead the way in this area.
The only thing I'm worried about is that the MSRP is going to be slowly increasing throughout the years, especially with the deadline to that 2035 bill. I'm just worried that it might slowly start increasing and other manufacturers would do the same thing.
Assemblymember Freeman can speak to this as well, but you've seen a number of manufacturers more fully commit themselves to electric vehicles. And that's about changing the supply-demand curve in a fundamental way. You're also seeing more electric vehicles out there in the marketplace at different price points. You're beginning to. What we really hope collectively is that you're going to see more EVs that are able to be met by middle income and even lower income consumers. The other issue, obviously, that's a challenge that Rosemary Shahan can speak to it great, is this apprehension that some people have about, well, if I'm going to drive from Northern California to Southern California, can I do it without having to charge, or how many times, right? So all those things are being worked on. But charging, literally, we're not making this up, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 above MSRP, which is real, is happening, has happened, and not just because of COVID supply chain issues, that is not acceptable. Thank you. Any other questions? I'll defer to the members.
Okay, so, I mean, we have this rally going on outside that is taken, and I mean, it's been kind of distracting on the abortion space. Governor Gavin Newsom this morning tweeted that California will no longer be doing business with Walgreens. I don't know if any of you had a chance to see that. His office has not provided details. I didn't know, and this is in response to Walgreens being unwilling to sell the abortion pill in 20 states. So I just didn't know if any of you had anything you wanted to say in response to that call at this point.
Yeah, I was really disappointed to see that news from Walgreens, because this is a medication that is life-saving for women, that's sold legally in many, many states, and that a company would just say, we're not going to sell medication that people need for political reasons, is denying people health care in those states. Just flat out, this is going to be the only option for women. It's going to drive women into backroom abortions. That particular medication is even used for other reproductive health that's not abortion related. And to say, because of politics in some states, we're going to now deny basic health care to women is shameful. And I think that for the state of California to put our purchasing dollars where our values are is completely appropriate. So I support the governor, and I stand behind him in that